Okay, hey everybody. So now we're back to, as you can see, I've got most of this done already. I have a couple of pulls to show you how to do that final pull through. We've got just about all of it fringed, and we're going to show you how we fringe it as well. And then once I get done with it, I'm doing, Kris is going to show you how to add in that extra piece of lock yarn, the hand spun yarns that we've been using here. So all right, here we go. So we're here at the top. Now remember, because, you know, it's this long, we're going to do this in sections. And it's really important to pay attention. Make sure you're only grabbing the ones that you need. Don't miss anybody. Just do what you got to do. And pull this down. That guy goes over there. Oh, I forgot my comb. All right, I'll get it in a minute. And then I always toss that back up and I go for the next one. So you want to make sure that when you start, so this is here and I need to go like this for the next one. So I need to make sure, because this last one was over here, I need to go under. So you have the opposite. We don't want to go the same way. Get under there. Use your fingers. The other hand is a very useful tool for this stage of it. The only problem with pulling this down, sometimes it gets in the way. There we go. It's a little easier.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes to figure out which angle to pull through on.
And really, I have another one that I've been working on at home, and I'm using much thicker yarns. And there's like no space in between once you get to this point. Oops, that's wrong. There we go. You'll know in a minute if you're doing the over under, so just make sure you're doing the opposite of what the previous row was.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like when you're this far in, like how we're working with 3 strands, if you're not careful when you're doing your over and under, you will pick up 2 instead of 3 strands, or 1 instead of 3 strands, and pull through and think, oh, that's not a big deal. It may be a big deal later when you're trying to continue on in your pattern. So just be very careful to pick up exactly what you need.
And it's okay to have mistakes. It just depends on, you know,
if you can live with them.
If you can live with them.
They're called design elements, folks.
They are. Remember, these are handmade. Yeah. All right, so mistakes are expected. Not appreciated sometimes.
Just depends on how picky the purchaser is.
Right. You know, so if you're doing, you know, if I was doing a commission piece for somebody, we
take out the mistakes.
Yeah, we do.
If I'm making a gift for a friend, you get the design element, friend. I love you, but.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when you realize it a foot away from where you were. I'm not taking out a foot of stuff to get in there. That becomes
and sometimes you can't
annoying.
Even really tell. It just looks like it's part of it anyway.
Yep.
So it gets really tight down here towards the bottom. So you have to make sure that you don't pull your stuff up over the nails.
Yeah, and you'll notice as Jeannine has gotten further down the piece, she's picked up smaller sections to weave, and that's because of the tightness of the piece as you get down lower.
Yep, and I just switched to a regular size crochet hook to get these last ones because this big one won't fit in here.
No.
So there's that.
And now what is the other one? Is that an Afghan hook again for those
one's
that
the Afghan hook?
Yep.
Where am I am. Nope. Nope. Stop it. You are here. Here we go. We are here. All right, so now pull it up. Go grab the comb that you forgot. And then you go like this.
Kind of clear your path again.
Yep, make way.
Can you show them that comb too when you're done? Just so they see it again. It's a quilting comb, guys.
It's a
quilling comb.
Quilling
My
comb,
brain couldn't.
and I have them in the store. What's nice about these is they're round, metal.
Yeah, and they
their
don't
blunt
snag
tips,
stuff.
They're much easier to use. I prefer this over the plastic combs.
I have a wooden one, and the ends are really pointy, though. And sometimes they catch.
Ta-da, goes there. All right, so I only have one more pull. And my one more pull, what you do is when you get to that last one, is you bring this down and you cut. You want to cut this before you actually pull it through, because it's just a single pull. Now the space that we're going to have left here is going to be for the art yarn.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
So you cut it and leave extra for fringe. And so now what you do is when you do this, you go up here and you go in, you get the satisfaction pulling that all the way through.
I love that part.
And then you can do this because knowing that it's coming all the way through, you don't have two to mess with, like the double strand, the splits on either side. You just have one, and you just bring it down, and then this will be part of your fringe. It will be that last tie. All the way through. And this is kind of one of those, yay, we're almost done. Okay, there's that. And if you've noticed, I've actually had to raise my easel because I need to go lower. At home, I stand until I can't stand anymore, and then I sit down in a chair. So I go back and forth. My legs get a lot of workout standing and sitting. There we go. Switching. And pulling everybody through. And one more. Come on. I pushed it down. Now I can get it. There we go. When you get to the bottom, you got everything in the way. So there you go. Ta-da. And now this will go this way. Have room for the art yarn.
Yeah, I actually will probably bring him over to put him in the middle of the two pieces, so it's okay. I'll show them.
What do you mean?
I'll show you. I'll show you. I'm going to scoot him because I put it in around another piece.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you. Don't worry about it. All right. We're going to swap places, and I'm going to... Oh?
I got two pieces of fringe to put on yet.
Well, you got to leave...
I'm going to do this one and that one, unless you don't want me to do it at all. We have to show them how to do fringe.
I know, but I thought we were going to do fringe after the piece that goes in, because it all has to be added in, because you have to lock my piece in.
I know.
So then we don't have to do fringe 3 times.
I guess we're stopping now.
Okay.
We're going to pause for a minute.
Hold on. We're swapping places.
Yay. Hi, guys. Okay. I have a piece of lock spun yarn that is the same as what we've used in the rest of the piece of the tri-loom. I'm going to add this in after the fact, and what I did is I cut a piece of lock that is going to go from up here all the way down here and can be included in my fringe. Okay? Now, for the way that I'm doing this, I am sliding this middle guy in between where these two pieces are going to lay, just like this. And because of how you're adding it in, you are going to have sections that are using the same space. So when I come in right here, this is going to come over my top,
and it's going to go under my second. So it's going to actually live in the same row as our strand that we just did. Okay? So there'll just be one extra piece that floats next to here, and then this piece will break up with this. Okay? I'm going to pop this over there so it's out of my way.
Turn it. There you go.
Maybe? There we go. All right. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to go under. And after I do the first one, I do more than one at a time, but then I come over and I bring him just like this. I'm going to come over here. Let's see, over. That's under, over, under, over. Yep, good. I'm doing it little bits by little bits because our yarn is a pain sometimes and it can snag, and you really, really, really just want to be careful. And again, I'm just going to keep watching so that I keep that guy in between. And we're going to go. And this breaks the rules of when we talked about, you know, making sure you're opposite of what you're doing. I'm intentionally staying, I did too many. I'm intentionally following the same groove as the last. And the only good part is that it's the same thing as when you're pulling that last one through. We don't have to worry because we're going to pull these ends all the way through.
So why wouldn't you do it the opposite?
It's easier when you're dealing with thicker art yarn to come in here and do it that way for me. I have come back after I've done this, and occasionally I have popped that middle piece out and gone. It depends on what that band in the middle looks like. Like once I start pushing everything together, if it looks okay, I keep it that way. If not, I separate it. And sometimes I will come up and pull that piece back out and go back through. Just depends on that center piece. I don't mind if there's one wide piece that's about like this in the center. If it stays that broad and that open, after I take the quilling comb and push things together, then I'll break it up.
Well, plus when we take it off, it's going to come together a little bit too.
Exactly. Exactly. And I kind of like it as like a raised piece down the center. It almost acts like a spine, if that makes sense.
So this is going to be one of those personal preference things. Once you get it off of there, do you like the way it looks down the middle?
Yeah. And you got to decide before you do the fringe if you want to keep it like that or not. That's all. Because once you're fringed, you're stuck with whatever you've got. And each piece I do is different. You know, and sometimes I'll add two pieces and I'll run one here and then I'll run one here that has two strands. So when I do the two strands, I'll come in opposite. But ooh, that catches on those nails.
Mm-hmm. You still want to do the opposite.
I do. It's habit. I do it every time when I go to finish these like this. And you can see I kind of open that up with my fingers. And that helps me. Using your fingers is like a joy. Oh, pardon me. Freaking Ohio allergies, man. Cannot win. All right, you're going to get tight where you have other art yarn. So just know that. I'm just pulling one piece through at a time there because it was so thick. There we go. But I like having the two pieces instead of just one. There we go. That one wasn't as hard as above. You know, and these can be added in anywhere. You can go in and add extra. It's just about how do you want to weave it in and what do you want it to look like. This is where you actually, you know, get to create and veer off pattern, so to speak.
These are those personal touches. You can customize it to fit the person that you're making it for.
Mm-hmm. And how we added in, like when we started over here and we added in the lock spun, that's also how you can go through and do color changing. Mm-hmm. You can, if you want, cut all 3 of your strands and pick up new 3 colors, and you can plait it out with different color work. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get in there and do stuff. If you guys have never seen the book, Continuous Strand Weaving, go look it up. It's amazing. And there's a lot of really neat patterns in there for the tri-loom, square looms, all different stuff like that. Book's been around forever, but everything in it is still exceptionally relevant. I've been reading it lately. Oh my goodness. I love it. It's so much fun. No. Come back here. There we go. Like, I am not playing that game.
Well, when you get down there, since you're already there and got the small crochet hook, just go ahead and finish those last pieces of fringing so they can see it.
Yep. Absolutely. You can see me doing just the one at a time right here, and it's because it really does get tight, and especially when you're working with art yarn. Thank you. Pain in my dupa.
And where those big pieces are, they're nice and funky, but you just have to work with them to get them through there.
Patient.
No.
I mean, the locks are super pretty, but they are a super big pain. And you can see me, I'm coming in here, and I just want to make sure that I didn't lose that piece down at the bottom, because
Okay.
that is what's going to help me lock everything into place. Oh, I see.
Yeah, that one came off.
Yep. So
Just
look, when
get that
something
back up.
pops, you just get it back on your,
Get it back on the nail.
just like that. And then let me move this little fuzzy piece, and you can see we have it on the nail right there.
Yep.
All
So
right.
those guys there.
Okay.
Those are going to be on the two furthest
Yep.
ones.
So I'm going to come in here, make a loop, and it popped off my nail. It's fine because I have it in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take my ends through that.
So basically fringe is you cut it as long as you want, but you make your pieces twice as long as what you want, because you're going to fold them in half. And you're going to do, what is this, lark's head?
Yep, it's a lark's head. So,
Yep.
but I'm going in underneath. I'm opening my loop, and I'm pulling my ends through, and then I'm pulling my ends and watching little things get attached,
Mm-hmm.
so that it catches my loop.
Now here's the pieces up here.
Okay.
So
So now you can do this in a couple different ways, guys. All right, so we have,
let me get in here so they can see.
that's
too.
fine. All right, so see how we have this last little loop. You can add just one piece, like one section of strands over and around this to fill in, or you can put it in on both corners. You can do it here and here. So it really doesn't matter which way you want to do it. If you're going to do two different ones, take your pieces that came down from your pull through and separate those out so you lock them together into that.
Okay.
All right, that's just kind of how I do it. I'm only going to grab two pieces because I already have so many to work around in my bottom of my pull through. So I'm going to be very diligent, very careful. I'm going to push these other strands out of my way. I'm going to come up underneath. I'm going to grab my two, and I'm going to pull those through. Now, I'm going to, at this point, make sure my ends are even. I'm going to pull my ends through. Before you close it, grab your strands from your pull through, drop those through your loop, and pull tight. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm going to see, let's see, we got 1, 2, are you attached? Everybody else got attached over there. All right, now I'm trying to move all the little lamb hair out my way. Oh, come here, guy. There we go. I'm going to come in just like that. Check my loops. Pull him through. Huh, have some lamb hair. Thanks, babies. Open up my loop, pull my ends through. Do not close my loop because I need to drop these two strands through it. Just like that. And then I'm going to pull down and lock them in. Now we know if this comes off, I'm not going to lose my strands that I worked so hard at pulling through. Now over here, before we do anything else, I kind of come in and I'm just lightly going over the whole piece. I'm going to start bringing these guys.
Try to close that in just a
Yep.
little bit.
And it's easiest if you just kind of go across the whole piece because it starts to loosen things up more evenly instead of like, oh, let me pull this row over. Oh, then I got to pull this row over. If you just kind of start doing this, kind of dragging your quilling comb.
And do it gently.
Yep.
It'll work.
Now, it might not work as well over
Where the stubborn art yarn is.
where the stubborn art yarn is. That you're going to have to drag over a little. I do pieces that are nothing but art yarn, so I don't have this problem because all of the stuff is so thick that it just fills in automatically for
you
me. It's
can't
kind of
see it.
nice. Yeah.
Like I said, you're
And-
going to see a big difference when we go and take this off,
Oh, absolutely.
how everything is going to come together. And that'll be the next step.
Yep.
All right. So
There
I'm
we go.
gonna pause this while she's still playing with that part of it, and then we'll be right back and show you how to take it off across the top. And it'll be a beautiful shawl.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've made an adjustment to the stand so that I'm not reaching way up here. And we're going to show you how we're going to take this off. Your fringe actually locks all of your sides. And now we're going to go across the top. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go under this first one and pull it off. So I'm just using a crochet hook. Then you're going to take here and you're going to go under the loop that is above that top piece, and you're going to pull that off and you're going to just chain it through. Make sure you get everybody, okay, and that you didn't get an extra somebody. All right, so then you're going to go under the next one, pop it off, chain it through. All right,
The further you get away from the corners, the easier it becomes.
it does.
The corners get a little tight.
And then because I have to make sure that I get all strands. It's not just one or two. I got to make sure I get all three. Okay. And then you go like this. And so it's just a chain stitch all the way across the top. Now when it gets to be too tight, just pop a couple off. It'll make it easier so that you're not stretching it, hurting your hands. It'll loosen it up a little bit. It'll make it easier to get in there. So this is all the way across the top. And the satisfaction of the ping of the nail.
Oh, I like hearing it when it pops off.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. When the fringe comes off the
whole
sides, the
thing
sound
comes
that
off.
makes it just, you're like, yes, finally, thank you.
Okay. I have to use my fingers to lift up over because it's
Because of the fat yarn.
the fat yarn. Make sure that I get everybody.
It's real easy to drop little strands that are mixed with thicker strands. So definitely use those fingertips.
There we go. So now we're back doing this.
Ooh, as I kick the stand,
Just
sorry.
kicks the stand. Okay,
Yeah.
so there is a technique too where you can just make a bunch of triangles that are all the same size and not fringe the edges and just do this across the top.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can sew them or crochet them together in geometric patterns, and you can make square blankets, you can make a long stole. Just depends on what you want to make, but it doesn't just have to be a shawl when you're done.
Mm-mm.
It can be other things. And you know, these triangle looms come in a variety of sizes, and you can make different sizes. Lost somebody, get it back on there. There we go. And also work with them that way as well. I have one customer. She bought I think it was a 3-foot loom, and she made a bunch of, I think it was 4 or 5 without fringe. She crocheted them together and ended up with this beautiful poncho.
Mm-hmm.
It was gorgeous. And she actually, and it wasn't so much just a neck opening so it hung. She actually crocheted up the sides too, so it kind of fitted around her a little bit more.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is beautiful. You never know what she's going to end up doing.
Huh. For sure.
Yep. Oops.
And
Don't
see, look,
panic.
it popped, but nothing went unraveling. That's
It's
one
not,
of the beautiful pieces of this.
it's not going anywhere.
No. As long as you secure that middle, you are pretty good.
Oops, I missed one. Hold on a second. Missed somebody down here.
What are you doing?
I missed. He didn't come through. But see, you can see them.
Yeah.
And they're easy to fix.
That is the beauty of this, is that it is pretty easy to fix if you skip one.
Come on. Use red is temperamental. There we go. There we go.
It's the red, the chenille?
Nope, it was the single
Oh.
on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, just a word of warning. I mean, this chenille is going to make this beautiful. It was not fun to work with.
Yeah, chenille's not fun to work with. It's kind of the same thing as mohair. Not fun to work with, but boy, the end results are amazing.
They're beautiful when you're done.
You just have to have the patience of Job to work with mohair or chenille. Super slick things don't pull at the same rate as your other yarns if you're mixing 2 or 3 or 4 yarns together. So you're always having to like pull back on the chenille or say silk to get it to line up with your other threads and not be gappy on you.
So a lot of knitters they'll hold a mohair with a regular yarn when they're making their sweaters and shawls because it's a beautiful effect. It has this wonderful halo and it makes it soft, but it can be temperamental. See, I lost another one right there. Get your butt on there.
I'm going to come around you. I'm going to pause for just a second, guys. Okay. I want to come to the other side because now that she's towards this end, it's going to be easier to film from this side.
As you can see, it's starting.
To get tight again?
Well, my loops are getting longer because it's over here, but that's okay. We'll fix it when we're done. We'll show them how that works. Almost. So this is the last of our 3-part series for weaving on a tri-loom, pin loom. Sometimes they're called pin looms. You have it split out in how to get started, how to add in additional yarns, and how to work when it gets to be a longer piece. And then with this one, we showed you how to add in some art yarn when you're done.
Sorry, there goes the slip of the camera.
And how to put on some fringe, and then how to get it off. So again, a 3-part series on how to do it. Great reference tool. Hopefully you guys will find it a great resource for you. Okay, so now this last one is actually where we tied our slip knot. Yep, pull it off. Undo the slip knot. You come through here.
Maybe.
You got it tight. And then it wants to get ahead of me. I just do an additional so it'll stay. You can weave that in later or cut it. Are you ready? Big reveal?
Hold on. Let me get my camera ready. I got to back up the camera. Whoa, that was the wrong way to go.
You could back up.
I am not as good as cameraman Bob. Oh, no, I had such a close-up of it that even backing up, I would have had to be across the room.
Okay, so at this point, the top is off.
Yep.
And you need to carefully remove one edge, and it should just come right off just like that.
Except where it might be stuck.
Stuck where the fringe is. Come on, give it up. I got it locked down.
Yeah, it got locked underneath there.
All right, let me get rid of that. All right, so what you want to do at that point, because this is where we ended, is you want to go from this other side. You want to grab the corner, and you just want to go across the top.
Yep.
It just stretches out those stitches across the top. You ready? And fuzz everywhere.
Yeah, there goes all the locks. Those are the extra locks.
And there's your shawl. Ta-da.
Yep. And the only thing left for you guys to do is even out whatever fringe that you need to, and you're done.
So this is the 5-foot loom. So watch this. Goes like this. And it looks like that in the back.
That's awesome.
So there you go. So that is the tri-loom.
Yep. Now what I would say is the only other thing that I personally would do is I would take that and I would go put it in some fiber soak.
Yep.
With cold water, not warm water if you have anything there that has been hand dyed. You can do warm water if you have things that will tolerate it. But I would soak it for about 15-20 minutes, put it in a spinner, rinse it out, and then lay it flat to dry, because what that will do is all of these like little gaps, it'll full the yarn, and then you won't have nearly that. It'll be more like a solid piece of fabric.
Right. And
at that point.
Already see how much, especially these areas, have the tension being released has taken away a lot of the holes.
Yep. But by fooling it, it should take up the rest of the holes. And sorry about my fingers at the top of the camera. I'm not as good as cameraman Bob.
I did that once too.
Yeah,
all right,
well.
so here you go. So there's this. Now, if you want to learn how to do tri-loom weaving, we do teach it here in the store. You would use one of my 30-inch tri-looms to complete a small shawlette, but it'll take you through beginning to end the process if you want to do it yourself. It is a fun technique. It's something that if you've always wanted to try it and haven't done it, that's your opportunity. Okay, so hope that these tutorials are working for you. They will be in the playlist as well as the full video that day, but it just makes it easier to find them if they're in the playlist.
Absolutely.
All right, anything else you want to say?
No, we're
All
good.
right. Well, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.